Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. I'm literally so excited to get into this today because we are going to uncover this epic global story that's probably hiding right inside your closet. In fact, you're probably wearing it right now. We're talking about the most mundane object imaginable. But trust me, the history behind it is absolutely wild.
So I want you to really think about the humble zipper for a second. There is this huge irony here. Today, it gives us lightning-fast, everyday utility. 1 second and zip, you're done. But it was agonizingly slow to invent. It actually took nearly 3 decades of super frustrating, iterative engineering to get this tiny little device to even work.
Now check out this number, 14. That's the staggering number of zippers the average American uses every single year. 14! From your favorite jacket to your jeans, your luggage, your camping tent, the zipper is just everywhere. It's so deeply woven into the fabric of our daily routines that we kind of never stop to think, hey, where did this actually come from?
And that brings us to today's premise. We're going from the micro to the macro. We'll start really small with a single, highly flawed mechanical invention from over a century ago. And we are going to zoom all the way out to this massive global oligopoly that controls a modern $15 billion empire.
All right, part 1, the broken machine, from concept to commercial failure.
So, looking at the early timeline, it's a bit of a painful one. In 1851, Elias Howe, the same guy who invented the sewing machine, he patented a really rough concept for a continuous clothing closure, but then he just sort of abandoned it. Fast forward to 1893, an inventor named Whitcomb Judson debuted his version at the Chicago World's Fair, and it was a massive, embarrassing flop. After that, the world had to wait an agonizing 20 more years for a guy named Gideon Sundback to finally crack the code in 1913.
Now, you might be wondering, why did Judson's invention fail so miserably back in 1893? Well, the problem was totally in the design. He called his device the clasp locker, and it relied on a really faulty hook and eye system. Basically, it was just trying to automate those standard hooks and eyes. The issue was that whenever the wearer bent over or flexed the fabric, the clasp locker just popped right open. And obviously, if your clothing fastener keeps popping open and jamming, well, that's a total disaster for mass production.
Moving on to section 2, engineering the zip, grief, genius, and a catchy name.
Enter Gideon Sundback, a Swedish-American electrical engineer who took over the project. In 1911, following the really tragic death of his wife, he essentially buried his intense grief into solving this mechanical puzzle. And he finally had a breakthrough, using 3 geometric steps. Step 1, ditch the hook and eye concept entirely. Step 2, replace them with 10 to 11 interlocking metal scoops, or teeth, per inch. And step 3, use a Y-shaped slider that pulls the teeth together using lateral friction instead of just hooking them. I mean, he was absolutely brilliant. But here's a really fun Easter egg. Sundback originally named his invention the separable fastener. Yeah, not exactly catchy, right? It actually wasn't until 1923 that the B.F. Goodrich company bought the fastener for their new rubber galoshes. The company president absolutely loved them, and he decided to name them zipper boots, just mimicking the onomatopoeic zip sound the fastener made. It's a perfect example of how even the most incredible engineering still needs brilliant marketing to actually take off.
Section 3, changing fashion forever, the battle of the fly.
Early on, zippers were completely utilitarian. We're talking World War I military gear, life vests, tobacco pouches, stuff like that. In fact, before the 1930s, clothing manufacturers tried to completely hide zippers out of sight. But then, the iconic French designer Elsa Schiaparelli stepped in. She shockingly exposed the zipper in haute couture. She used these bright, oversized plastic and metal zippers as bold, surrealist focal points on her dresses. She basically proved to the world that this clunky mechanical fastener could actually be a high-fashion artistic statement. And then we have what is hilariously known as the 1937 Battle of the Fly. Designers finally started putting zippers into men's trousers. Esquire magazine pushed this heavily, famously writing that the zipper excluded, and I quote, the possibility of unintentional and embarrassing disarray. Literally, that was their massive selling point. It directly addressed men's anxiety over button fly failures. And honestly, from that moment on, buttons on men's trousers were pretty much history.
Okay, section 4, the global zipper monopoly, zooming out to a $15 billion empire?
Take a look at this market breakdown. It reveals a seriously extreme oligopoly. The Japanese titan, YK Corporation, controls roughly 45 to 50% of the entire globe's zipper production. For a single company to control nearly half of a totally ubiquitous worldwide commodity, that is just staggering.
To really wrap your head around YKK's massive scale, think about this number: 50. YKK produces approximately 7 billion zippers every single year. If you laid those end to end, that is enough zipper to completely encircle the Earth 50 times over. It's literally hard to even comprehend that level of production.
But wait, it actually gets crazier. While UKK completely dominates the premium market, a single Chinese township named Kyoto pumps out a staggering 80% of the world's entire zipper volume. They're making like 200 million meters of zippers annually. The geographic concentration of this industry is just absolute insanity.
So we're basically looking at the two dominant business models running the whole world's apparel supply chain. On one side, you have the YKK group. They are obsessively vertically integrated, like they literally smelt their own copper and build their own zipper-making machines just to ensure premium quality. On the flip side, you have the Kyoto model, driven by companies like SBS. Their whole thing is hyper-specialized mass volume efficiency, utilizing an entire massive industrial cluster in China to drive costs as low as possible.
Which brings us to Section 5, Unzipping the Future, the environmental unraveling.
Here's the harsh reality. A zipper's fundamental construction makes textile recycling nearly impossible. Think about it. You've got metal teeth, a plastic slider, and a synthetic fabric tape, all permanently fused together. They shed microplastics in the wash, the heavy metal plating process causes chemical pollution, and the energy required to continuously run these giant manufacturing plants is just enormous. Oftentimes, zippers outlast the cheap fast fashion garments they're attached to, which means they head straight to the landfill.
So, what's the fix? Well, the industry is actually in a massive race to solve this right now. YKK has launched its natural online using recycled polyester tapes to cut emissions by about 20%. At the same time, competitors are racing to develop biodegradable polymers, ocean plastic zippers, and even smart digital textiles that track a garment's entire life cycle. We're slowly moving toward a closed-loop circular production system, but honestly, it is a steep uphill battle.
And that brings us to a final, pretty provocative question. Will the fashion of tomorrow outgrow the broken machine of yesterday? Think about it. This 130-year-old invention started out as a frustrating, embarrassing failure. It took absolute genius engineering and brilliant marketing to turn it into this invisible $15 billion global empire. But as we look toward a future of sustainable, circular fashion, you have to wonder, is the zipper going to evolve again? Or are we going to find a completely new way to hold our clothes together? I want you to look at your wardrobe today and really think about that. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.